Capita plc, commonly known as Capita, is an international business process outsourcing and professional services company headquartered in London, United Kingdom. It is the largest business process outsourcing and professional services company in the UK, with an overall market share of 27% in 2009, and has clients in central government, local government and the private sector. It also has a property and infrastructure consultancy division, which is the fourth largest multidisciplinary consultancy in the UK. Roughly half of its turnover comes from the private sector and half from the public sector. Whilst UK-focused, Capita also has operations across Europe, Africa and Asia. Capita is listed on the London Stock Exchange and is a constituent of the FTSE 100 index. History: Capita was formed in 1984 as a division of the non-profit CIPFA. In 1987 it became an independent company with 33 staff as a result of a management buyout, led by Rod Aldridge, and was first listed on the London Stock Exchange in 1991. In March 2006, Executive Chairman Rod Aldridge resigned in the aftermath of claims that contracts awarded to the group were influenced by his loan of £1 million to the Labour Party. Aldridge resigned saying that he denied the claims, but to avoid any lingering doubts about it, he was leaving the company. Aldridge had overseen the company's growth from a small company in 1987 to a FTSE 100 member in 2006. In February 2007, a Capita office in Victoria, London was subject to a letter bomb attack. One person was injured. On October 2, 2009, one of Capita's businesses announced plans to move some of its operations from London to Leeds. On July 1, 2011, Capita acquired Ventura, a customer contact specialist, for a cash consideration of £65 million. On February 28, 2013, Capita bought the Fire Service College from the Department for Communities and Local Government for £10 million. Operations: Capita works across 8 markets: local government, central government, education, transport, health, life and pensions, insurance, and other private sector organisations. Examples of their activities include a television licence fee contract for the BBC, one from the Post Office. Provision of IT services, including web hosting and help desk support, to many county and city councils, many LEAs, the Driving Standards Agency and the National Rail. Full ownership of CHKS, a hospital accreditation scheme and healthcare informatics group. Ownership of a number of health clinics. Insurance and occupational health services. In 1998, Capita won the contract to run Construction Line, the newly created public-private partnership currently owned by the Department for Business, Innovation and Skills. Capita manages the Criminal Records Bureau for the Home Office. In 2002, when mandatory CRB vetting of all workers with children was brought in, a large number of teachers were temporarily unable to work after Capita's systems had difficulty with the workload and were subsequently overwhelmed, meaning that the start of the academic year was delayed in some places. Poor system specifications and last-minute changes in government policy by the then Secretary of State for Education, Estelle Morris, are believed to have been significant factors in these delays. In 2006, Capita Financial Administrators was fined £300,000 by the Financial Services Authority for having poor anti-fraud controls. Capita entered the healthcare recruitment market during May 2011 through acquisition of Team24, a healthcare recruitment specialist, extending the services they offer within the recruitment industry. Capita also intended to enter into the legal services market and entered into a funding arrangement with the law firm Optima Legal Services Limited, which saw them, in the period between May 2006 to the end of 2009, invest a total of £36,700,000 by way of investment loans into Optima. As part of the funding arrangement, Capita Group had the option of acquiring the shares of Optima Legal Services for the nominal sum of £1 upon the full implementation of the Legal Services Act 2007, which would make ownership of law firms by the likes of Capita possible. It is thought that such alternative business structures could be lawful around October 2011. However, On August 9, 2010, it was reported that the Solicitors Regulatory Authority had found that the arrangement breached its rules and that it effectively amounted to an ABS. As a consequence, Optima Legal Services lead litigation and property partners, Philip Robinson and Anthony Ruane respectively, were both severely reprimanded by the SRA for what was found to be professional misconduct and only narrowly avoided referral to the Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, and Adrian Lamb, former CEO of Optima Legal Services Limited, left the business in June 2010. Property, engineering and infrastructure services are provided under the Capita Simmons brand. NHS services. In June 2014, it was reported that at least 5 of 8 Liverpool NHS trusts who had contracted their payroll and recruitment to Capita in 2012 were withdrawing because of concerns about the quality of the service provided. Several NHS trusts contracted with the company for human resources services. West London Mental Health NHS Trust cancelled their contract in September 2014 after the company proved unable to meet acceptable time to hear unregistered trademark targets particularly for nurses. At the same time, Alder Children's NHS Foundation Trust and Liverpool Heart and Chest Hospital NHS Foundation Trust terminated their contracts. Education services. Sims.net, a schools information management software, a management information system used in 70% of primary and secondary schools across England and Wales to record many aspects of pupil data. In March 2009, Capita Sims was said to be responsible for sending a truancy warning notice to the family of a Cheshire school pupil who had died 2 months before. Sims also links with Capita One, which is a database used within local education authorities for general analysis and overview of pupil and school data. Individual Learning Account, a a £290 million scheme intended to give financial support to adult learners that was opened in 2000 and scrapped in 2001 following widespread and massive fraud. Connections Card, a a £109 million scheme that involved issuing 16 to 19-year-olds with smart cards that recorded their lesson attendance and rewarded them with discounts on consumer goods. It ran from 2002 until it was terminated in 2006 owing to lack of uptake. Education Maintenance Allowance for the Learning and Skills Council, Capita Education Resourcing. Capita Education Resourcing is an education recruitment specialist with a large networks of schools, colleges and nurseries across England and Wales. They have 19 offices covering teaching jobs operating throughout the UK. Partnerships, Grup Call are commercial and SQL technical partners with Capita. They are official resellers of Grup Call's mobile app Emerge, which enables schools to access their school information management system data on Apple iOS or Android devices. Financial performance. The company's results are as follows. Senior management. Paul Pinder joined Capita in 1987, he has been chief executive since 1999. For this role he is paid a £375,000 salary and a £525,000 bonus, giving a total annual compensation of a £900,000. Criticism. Capita Group has not always been received well by the public and in the media. It has gained the nickname Capita, particularly from the coverage in the satirical investigative magazine Private Eye, which routinely documents the company's many failures and setbacks in the public sector. Pinder himself has attracted criticism for complaining about being called a fat cat, despite receiving a £770,000 per annum salary and driving around in an Aston Martin DB9. It really takes the biscuit especially when you consider his workers are fighting for a rise equivalent to just 4 pints of milk a week, said a workers' representative. The average Capita employee salary at the time was a £28,000 per year. It was revealed in January 2013 that Capita was embroiled in a scandal over misinforming people that they had to leave the UK, as they had no valid visa. One such person was in fact the holder of a UK passport. In 2014, a leak to The Guardian revealed that the DWP had to send civil servants in to help the company process personal independence payments for the seriously ill and the disabled. Waiting times for assessment, the newspaper noted, have been so long that in some cases people with terminal conditions have died before receiving a penny. References External links, official website, Capita companies grouped at open corporates.